Hey, welcome back if you're a repeat viewer, or welcome if you are this is the first one that you've seen. My name is Mark. I am a middle-aged bloke with no hair. I know, there's lots of us about. And I talk about once a week about something relating to a band or a film or my collection of things. Every once in a while, and by the way, this is number 448, so I'm on the big numbers now. I uh, I have an army of child labour. A child, and I task him with going onto my box of shelves, my random assorted old media, physical things. 'Cause I like to have physical things. I am the kind of person that likes to touch a work of art, whatever it is, and I have ask him to go and pick off the shelves a CD, a DVD, a 7-inch, a 12-inch, a Blu Ray, a book, and put it in a tote bag. Today's tote bag is Watusi by the Wedding Presents, Leeds' finest export apart from the Sisters of Mercy. Actually, probably finer than the Sisters of Mercy on the basis of a recorded career. And I'm going to go in here, I'm going to find out what there is, and I'm going to talk about it at random. Think of it as being very similar to the Amoeba Records show, What's in My Bag. But in What's in My Bag, famous is, normally in bands, pick out things from the shelves that they bought from Amoeba and then talk about them. Today, this first choice is a book, David Mitchell, Backstory. A man who, like me, has a fantastic beard, but unlike me, has a full head of hair. And there you go. That should be a good start, shouldn't it? So, David Mitchell, I've not read this yet. I have a pile of unread books. There is a Japanese word for it. I don't know what that word is, but that word is fantastic and unpronounceable, especially if you're trying to remember what it is without having looked it up. What I do love is the optimism of buying books and lots of books when you already have lots of books you don't already have had read. The idea that you will have enough time in your future to read all the books, the mountain of unread words that is next to you on your bedside table. I am guilty of that as much as anybody else. In fact, I would go so far as to say I've probably got about 20 years of books ahead of me at the rate that I'm reading at the moment, and I'm still going to try and see if I can finish them all and read more. I don't read a huge amount of fiction. I kind of stopped reading fiction when I became a dad for the first time. I just found that there was so much going on in my life that I couldn't really keep track of what was happening in other people's lives when they weren't real. I could watch a film, watch television, easy peasy. Reading a book, I just didn't have the brain power to do it, because instead the thing that was occupying my brain was things like, have I got enough food? Have I got enough money? Have we got enough, baby wipes and nappies and milk and stuff like that? So I haven't read this yet. I do think that I probably should read it by now. I'm going to go and see. Actually, I'm just going to have a quick look in here, just go and check. It appears to be a rare unsigned copy, because near enough every celebrity or famous autobiography comes in a signed version as the default to sell more copies. So there you are, a rare unsigned copy of Dave Mitchell's Backstory, a memoir. And he says, this is one of those misery memoirs, and it's one of those celebrity memoirs, and it's a very personal journey, a manual for urban ramblers, and a weight loss guide. Surely it'll sell. Well, never read it. I really should read it, considering I have had this book now for probably 10 years. Don't judge me. I am merely slow. So there you go. Right, so what else is in here in the tote bag of dreams? Well, I think I mentioned them and it came out of the bag. The Wedding Present, Leeds' finest export. So this is a 7-inch single. This is for Record Store Day 2014. This is an American edition, I believe, because in the UK, for Record Store Day 2012, 2013, 2014, they released 3 10-inch singles that were recorded in various languages. And the languages were, I think, French, German and Welsh. And they have recorded respectively 4 songs in each of the respective languages. In America, these weren't issued as 10 inches, these were issued as 7 inches with 3 songs on. This is the 2014 German 7-inch EP. German language 7-inch EP that was released in America for Record Store Day 2014. It features 3 songs: Back a Bit, Stop, 524 Fidelio and The Girl from the DDR, and it comes on boring, beautiful black vinyl, which, given that the sleeve is all blue and white, maybe it should have come in a blue vinyl, but who knows? Blue is a colour, black is a colour. These songs were from the Valentina era of the band, a relatively short-lived lineup that I saw a couple of times. I really enjoyed seeing the band around about this time. They had some fantastic songs. Deer Caught in Headlights is one of my absolute favourites, and they played it the last time I saw them last month in Leeds for their 40th anniversary show. So I saw The Wedding Present in Leeds on the 40th anniversary of their first ever show, at the Stylus, which is a venue inside the University Union, and one of my favourite Wedding Present gigs of all time, that, which is good because it was filmed for a DVD, which inevitably will come out in 10 years' time. So Back a Bit, Stop is a good song. 524 Fidelio is interesting because I'm not quite sure what the lyrics to that mean. And then there's The Girl from the DDR. Of course, the girl from the DDR is the girl from the Deutsche Democratic Republic, or the girl from East Germany, or whatever it was called. And so therefore, of course, this EP had to be in German because The Girl from the DDR is about a girl from Germany. Yeah, great 7-inch. Really like it. I think I had to buy this one once it was imported from America to the UK. Not too many of these about, probably a few hundred. Really love it. And obviously The Wedding Present, one of my very favourite bands. And they're one of my favourite bands for a number of reasons. The first one is, unlike a number of bands, is that everything that they've done, they seem to have, if not got better, then at least stayed consistently very, very good all the way through their career. You can argue with me. That's okay. It's a big world. But I think as I've grown older, their work has changed and their music has matured and it's evolved. But it's evolved in a way which matches how I think people change over time. It's become more intricate, more thoughtful. The lyrics have become, I think, more astute. Generally, I've grown old. The band have grown old, even though, of course, the band seem to have a series of ever-changing lineups. They've just been one of my favourite bands because they've consistently made good, solid, strong material all the way through their career, and the shows are always fantastic, and the set lists are always full of deep cuts. If you go to see AC/DC, I saw AC/DC last year, you know, they don't change their set list from one decade to the next. I think probably 95% of AC/DC's set list has been released in the first 10 years of their career, from 1975 to probably 1981, 82. And then the next 5% come from the past 40 years of their career. The Wedding Present, yeah, they play a lot of early songs, but they rotate their set lists around consistently. You never know what song you're going to get next, and you're never far away from a new song, and you're never far away from an old song. And there's no one song that they play at every single show. They play Brass Neck at a lot of shows. They play Kennedy at a lot of shows. They don't always play those songs. And sometimes, you know, I saw them in December 2017. I saw them in February 2018. They changed 22 of the 24 songs in the set list in that 6 weeks. So that's quite a lovely little thing to have as an experience, that sense of, oh, what's going to happen next? I don't know. So, and what's going to happen next, I don't know, is I'm going to bring a Blu Ray out. Oh boy, pain and gain. What can I say except you're welcome? This is a Marmite movie. Some people love it, some people hate it. I think it's funny and it's silly, and it's most definitely in my favourite Michael Bay movies, because there is a trend in Michael Bay movies called Bayhem, and this is not a Bayhem movie. Bayhem movies are so mind-numbingly dense that they bend light at ground level. This is not one of those. This is a film about two absolutely dunderheaded people that three actually decide to chase the American dream, and they do so by breaking the law. It's a criminal enterprise, according to the back, that goes horribly wrong, and that is very, very true, because they think something's going to be simple. It doesn't turn out to be simple. Everything they try to do to make things easier and better ends up making them just worse. Of course they do. And the tragedy of that is, if it was that easy, everybody would have done it. There is one scene where actually the film stops mid-scene, freeze frames, and a sign comes up going, "This actually happened," which is an idea. It gives you an indication of exactly how bizarre, outlandish, and ridiculous this movie is. I think it says it's pumped up action, fast paced, funny, and hugely entertaining. But that comes from Zoo magazine. And Zoo magazine is written by ants. And so therefore Pain and Gain maybe is perhaps, it's not pumped up action, it's not fast paced, it's not funny, it's not hugely entertaining. It's a dark, grim, hilariously morbid comedy about human stupidity and the capacity for the human imagination to think things it never should. I love this film. Do I like it? No. It's got very little in the way of redemptive moral positions at all. It's more kind of that gif of Michael Jackson eating popcorn in Thriller, and someone just kind of staring at it going, "My God, people are doing this." Oh boy, it is fantastic. Good film, great film. Oh God, no, absolutely not. Intellectually, probably as lowbrow as you can get, but I enjoyed it. So there you go. That's your third choice. Let's see what's number 4 inside the Watusi box of dreams. Okay, so I'm going to go for, this is a DVD. Oh yeah, Hannibal by the Ridley Scott. This is Ridley Scott, isn't it? Yeah, so this is the first Silence of the Lambs sequel, the third film in the trilogy, because the first film in the trilogy, Red Dragon, was made last. Are you paying attention? Yeah. I really like Hannibal, actually. Is it good? No. Is it great? No. Is it passable? Yes, 100%. It is thoroughly cromulent and average in every way. Actually, I at the time I saw it, I was really pleased with it, because Ridley Scott at this point was a director who was working far above the material that he was given. I mean, he made Robin Hood or whatever the heck it was 10 years later. He's maybe not great at picking scripts, but he is, as a filmmaker, very, very good at what he does. And this was where he was at a peak post-Gladiator of both commercial pull and probably artistic and creative technical excellence. You could give him a sow's purse and he could make it into a... No, hang on a minute, that's the wrong cliche, isn't it? You could give him a pile of dog shit and he could at least make it look like a diamond from a distance. The plot of Hannibal is curious and interesting. The way that Anthony Hopkins plays Hannibal, lots of people kind of go, "Oh, it's brilliant, it's brilliant." It isn't. He's a snob and a psychopath and a fascinating character, but you don't ever, ever, ever want to be around him. And I have been doing some work around psychopaths, people with antisocial personality disorder, people that have empathy gaps recently, people that don't look at other human beings as real, or people that don't regard other human beings as having any innate worth in them, people that look at other human beings and don't respect the rights, morals, opinions, feelings, or emotions of other human beings. By those criteria, Hannibal is absolutely 100% a psychopath, and that's undeniable when you watch the film. Well, the curious thing is the people that he murders in the film. At least 3 of them. The one in the opening scenes, the Italian detective, and towards the end, Ray Liotta's character. Well, he doesn't murder, but merely maims substantially. They're all characters that have displayed avarice and tastelessness and greed and ego. And you can kind of look at the people that he kills in Hannibal and think about them as being representative of the 7 deadly sins, and therefore hoist, quite literally in one case, by their own petards. I think Hannibal is a very good film. It's not great, good, very good. No great fantastic work of art, but certainly what Ridley Scott brings to it elevates the film above the source material. Right, now we're on to CDs, and the CD is Manic Street Preachers, Send Away the Tigers. Apparently, their commercial rebirth after Lifeblood, because Lifeblood was an album that landed like a damp squib at the time of release, and Send Away the Tigers was the typical comeback album. But at the end of the day, it is just another Manics album. I don't particularly like the cover art to it. I don't understand what that signifies at all. I'm not sure now what the album is about, really. It's got some really good moments in it, actually. Underdogs on the original version of the album is quite good. Winter Lovers is good. Autumn Song is good. Your Love Alone is not enough. But they are classic, big rock tracks. This is the first album where, to me, it felt like the Manics were retreating. By the way, I've turned the cover art around because I think that's a better cover than the one that's on the actual album. I think of this as the first album by the Manics, which is very clearly the sound of retreat, the sound of we need to go back to what we used to be in order to get commercial success. And chasing commercial success, being commercially aware, running the band as a business, that's an economic reality of the situation. But then squeezing your art into slightly different shapes and sizes to represent or to be more palatable to people. It's kind of like turning a band and turning your art into a fun-sized Mars bar. It's not necessarily the right thing, and it, an audience can kind of see through that sometimes. Sometimes audiences don't care, as U2's All That You Can Leave Behind clearly indicates. The sense of a band going, yeah, this is the best album we've ever made. We've gone back to our roots. This isn't the band going back to their roots, because their roots were 2-minute punk thrashes with names like, Contamination and Suicide Alley and Democracy Coma, fierce punk tracks. This is not that. This is them going back to their roots of doing vast, sweeping, epic stadium rock with a slightly political bent, like a cross between Massive Attack and Coldplay. And that sounds like more of an insult than it actually is. There's some good songs on here. There's some songs that are not great on here. I think Imperial Body Bags is fantastic, by the way, but it's an album of good songs. It's not necessarily a great album by the Manics. And I've just got to the point now where the Manics were a band that I once loved, and now they're a band that I like. They were a band that I would have driven up to Scotland to see, and now I don't go to London to see them, because although they're third on the list of bands that I've seen the most, the Wonder Stuff are at the top, over 180 times. Suede are second with about 75 times. The Manics are about 55 times. And 55 times sounds like a lot until you realise that they've been going for 35 years, and that's really only seeing the band once every 6 months on average. So, yeah, there you are. Send Away the Tigers. Thoroughly okay album. So I think this is the last one that's going to come out now. And I know what this is because, unfortunately, I looked down and I could see the top of it coming out of the bag, but I'm going to act surprised when it comes out. Go with me. Moby. Okay, so I've not mentioned Moby before on any of the episodes. This is one of the 12 inches. I think this is Him or Move. I'm more inclined to say it's Him. Yep, it's Him. And Him being a non-album single from the Everything Is Wrong era. So this 12 inch is probably 30 years old now. These are previously unavailable UK club mixes on Mute Records, number 161. It features, and let me just quickly check, the Menacing and European mixes and the Lucky Orgasm and I Believe mixes. These were not released on CD, but a number of these mixes were on the Evil Ninja DJ Moby double CD remix album of Everything Is Wrong. And I'm interested, if you've watched this far. I have a lot of Moby records. I think he makes good music. I understand that it is completely, in many people's eyes, bland and unexciting. And he's certainly been guilty of making records that haven't pinned you back to the wall with a furious compulsion to listen to. But his records always have a sense of a kind of exhausted, resigned melancholy. And that is often where my heart sits. sometimes. Him is not one of those. Him is from the early 90s. It's when he was doing tracks like Go, Feeling So Real, Every Time You Touch Me. Similar tracks like that. So him itself, the standard classic version of him, is, put bluntly, an absolute banger of a track. Whole wave your hands in the air like you just don't care, screaming out loud in a loud room with bright lights and low ceilings at 3 a.m. kind of track. And to be fair, I don't listen to this particular 12-inch vastly often, but I own it. I have it. I've had it for about 30 years. If you're a regular viewer and you're interested in me doing a Moby album by album thing, please do say, because I'm not sure anybody is really interested in it. But of course, I do things because they interest me, and it would interest me, but if it's only going to be watched by 27 people, I might not, because I'm not sure if I'm that interested. That sounds awful, doesn't it? But I'm in two minds about doing it for two reasons. The first one is it's quite niche. The second one is there is some problematic history with Moby regarding Natalie Portman and his autobiography, and then it fell apart, where he kind of infers that he was in a relationship with Natalie Portman on a brief basis, and she most definitely refuted that. Just so that you know, from my perspective, it sounds like Moby, having just become famous at the point where he saw Natalie Portman a few times, kind of thought that the relationship that they had was more serious and more meaningful than it was. And she probably thought, because she'd been famous for a number of years at this point, here's another rich, famous dude who's just become famous, who's hanging out with me, and yeah, he wants to go out with the princess from Star Wars, but he isn't. Sometimes when you're in a situation, two people who are experiencing the same thing will have different experiences and different perspectives upon it. Sometimes, for example, one party will think that they're going out and the other party will think that they're starting to maybe, perhaps, possibly go out. And then looking back in retrospect, and bearing in mind, I don't think Moby was vastly experienced in the terms of actual relationships at that point. He misread what was it happening as something which it wasn't. Most people have been in a situation like that at some point in their lives. Most people have thought, oh, I could try kissing this person, and the person was just like, I'm just being nice to you, don't kiss me, don't kiss me. Oh shit, you've got him for the lunge. It could be a situation like that. I don't know. I think it's important to judge people on who they are now and their behaviour now and how they behave now as a reflection of who they are now. And by the sounds of it, Moby has sobered up and did so about 18 years ago, maybe 17 years ago, and has got a different perspective upon things now. But that was then, and this is now. And that is Moby. And those are my picks. So thank you for watching. Nice, sweet, simple, easy episodes. These, I don't have to do any prep. I don't have a bit of paper here with quotes from enemy interviews in 1994 or anything like that. Just a dude talking to his mobile phone about things from his shelves. And I hope that's been good. So next week is fairly busy. I might get to do one on Wednesday. If I don't, it'll be the next week, the week after next. So there you go. In fact, it might not even be the week after next, because again, I've got quite a few gigs on. In fact, I've got a lot of gigs on this month. Anyone would think it was June, but there you are. But I've got none in July, and that's good news, isn't it? So I will see you soon. Take care of yourselves and each other. If you love somebody, tell them before it's too late, as Alan Fluff Freeman said. And to follow the Tower of Bill and Ted. Be excellent to each other. Whoa, dude. See you later. All right, bye-bye.